This video is mostly about Alex Smith. But also, before we really get into Alex Smith's career on the 49ers and basically in general, I just wanted to talk about how the 49ers have just totally fumbled 2 straight decades of wasted players and just playoff heartbreak. I just don't understand how they've had players such as, so even modern day players, but like look at their lineage of players. Just to start, we got Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Ronnie Lott, and even modern day guys like Patrick Willis, Justin Smith. Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to count Colin Kaepernick, even though he was only there for like a few years. But like, I'm not even saying Brock Purdy is the worst player they've ever had, but I mean, he's all right. But how the 49ers have managed to just fumble 2 decades basically, because they haven't won since Steve Young in like 94, is absolutely outstanding to me. I don't even know how they've done that. And I know some people probably don't remember, but Alex Smith was actually the first overall pick in the 2005 NFL draft. They could have had Aaron Rodgers on the 49ers. But Aaron Rodgers did not get drafted that high. He was drafted way later at the 24th overall pick. 24, he fell down 23 spots. And honestly, probably if you go back and look at that draft, I'm pretty sure the 49ers regret that they drafted Alex Smith. Because nothing against Alex Smith. But we're going to get into his time with the San Francisco 49ers. So we're here in his first season in 2005, age 21. He plays 9 games. He only started in 7. He only had a 50% completion percentage, so that's pretty oof. I don't want to talk about that. He threw for 875 yards this year. He's a rookie. What do you expect? He's not a 6'6" quarterback, but he's a rookie. So what do you expect? He got a touchdown, only 1 touchdown. He threw 11 interceptions, so they're really getting the rookiness out of him by throwing that many interceptions. It's kind of crazy. But then he comes back in the 2006 NFL season, goes 7 for 9, puts up a 58% completion percentage, which is, it's iffy, it's all right. But then he throws almost for 3,000 yards. You're going to see that Alex Smith only threw for 4,000 plus yards once, and it was only 4,442. That's all it was. So he barely got over the 4,000 yard mark anyway. And he only did that once in his career. But he wasn't on San Francisco anymore. He was in pre-Andy Reid when he just got off the Eagles and he went to the Kansas City Chiefs just before they drafted Patrick Mahomes, which is crazy. But yeah, now moving on to his 2007 season, where his quarterback record was 2-5. So I mean, he's still getting out the kinks. But he got 94 completions this season. Only put up 914 yards and threw 2 touchdowns. So he's had 3 years, and I guess he's getting it together. He's not really playing as well as you would want him to play. He sat out the whole year in 2008 because of a shoulder. So he got an injured shoulder. He sat out, but then he comes back in 2009. He goes 5 for 5 with a 60% completion percentage. Okay, so at least there's improvement. Throws for 2,350 yards. Okay, but 18 touchdowns. So at least we're seeing improvement from you, Alex. That's very good. That's very good. And then we're going to 2010. 2010, he comes out with a 3-7 record. 3-7. 3-7, only throws for 2,370 yards. So he only threw for 20 more yards. But I mean, think about it. They also had Frank Gore as a running back, so whenever I guess Alex wasn't getting the job done, hey, we can just give it to Frank Gore and let Frank Gore just run that bitch as much as humanly possible. But then we come in his probably most complete season as a 49er in 2011, where he goes 13-3, throws for 3,144 yards and 17 touchdowns. Now, is that anything crazy nowadays? Not even at that time, because you had Breeze, Manning, Brady, those guys still throwing lights out, and Alex Smith over here looking super ordinary, looking barely above average, if you ask me. And then we come back in 2012, where he goes 6-1, only throws for 1,700 yards, basically. Like, his completion percentage was high this year. He had a high completion percentage, so I'll give him that. But like his completion percentage never goes higher than this 70%. So technically in 2012 was his most efficient season. And that's basically us getting out of San Francisco in 2012. So he basically spent 7 years on San Francisco figuring it out most of the time, because he really did not really come into his own until he hit Kansas City, where he had a system around him. I guess because mostly San Francisco was mostly a run dominant team, because they had prime Frank Gore back there running the ball, toting the rock. You know, we didn't make a video on him on his own, but prime Frank Gore is back there toting the rock, power backing through everyone. But as you can still see, and they still don't win. They still can't get over the hump. And it just doesn't make sense how they can put so many pieces around players, especially even their quarterbacks. Same thing with Purdy, Smith, Kaepernick. You have all these pieces around you. You have Frank Gore, McCaffrey, a running back. They've had great running backs, great receivers. You know, not the best receivers, but they've had pretty decent receivers. But they've had these insane defenses right now, even with Fred Warner in them, and they still can't get it done, whether it's because of injuries or bad luck, like their Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I honestly argue whoever that free safety was, I forgot his name, but he got fucking burnt by Tyreek Hill. But that's basically the reason they won that game, even though they should have won. But I digress.